Okie dokie, today we're gonna talk about why you're not the one who's making your decisions. And right inside of you, there is like this thing that's leading you from the shadow. And we're gonna try to uncover the hidden mechanism of how it works and so on, so you can get a better understanding of it. Right, you're not the one making your decisions. And this is the most important thing you don't know about yourself. You think you are, this is the trick. And it's the oldest one in the book, played on you every day of your life by parts of yourself you have never properly met. This is basically the chatter mind that's always talking in the background. The part of you that narrates your life and feels like the captain is the slowest part of you, and it is working with a fraction of the information available, while most of what it tells you was written by people you will never meet in rooms you've never been in, and you walk around defending it like it's yours. This message is about the gap between the part of you that thinks is running things and the part that actually is. Once you see the gap, you cannot unsee it. Most people never look, and few who do tend to spend the rest of their lives unwinding what they find in there. I'm writing this because I went through the unwinding, and because the people I respect most are the ones who have also gone through it. And because if you're still seeing this, you're already closer to it than you think. Part 1. Your senses give you almost nothing. Your eyes catch a thin band of light sitting in the middle of a spectrum that runs much farther in both directions. And the rest of that spectrum is moving through your body every second of your life without you even seeing it. Your ears do the same thing, picking up a narrow range of frequencies, while everything outside that range passes through the room unheard, carrying information your body sometimes registers even though your mind never will. Touch, taste and smell each opens into their own small windows, and together these doors give you something that feels like a complete picture of reality, only because it's the only picture you've ever had. That is the equipment. This is what the conscious mind has to work with. On top of this tiny stream of input, it builds an entire understanding of life, and then makes a quite stupid assumption that has cost more people their potential than anything else. It decides that whatever it cannot see is not there. It mistakes its own blindness for proof. So everything subtle gets thrown out before you even look at it. And I'm talking about your intuition here, that quiet inner voice. We're going to talk about it in a bit. Every signal that does not announce itself loudly enough to reach the senses gets dismissed as not real, not relevant, not worth paying attention to. The feeling that arrived before the thought, the pull telling you to leave a room where everything looked fine on the paper, the thing you already knew the moment a certain person walked in, the answer that came at 4 in the morning to a question you had stopped asking weeks ago. None of it registered on the 5 doors, so the conscious mind threw it out and you called it nothing. And jumping off the script here, this is how people go slipping through life, right? They suppress day by day more and more that quiet inner voice that speaks. It's a feeling. It will never be words. Sometimes you can get an impulse, you can't even put it out into words, but it's there. And you know, it defines itself as being binary. This is crazy. I mean, it's a yes or a no. That's what it means, right? It was nothing. The instrument was just never built fine enough to detect it. And the instrument has been telling you for your entire life that what you cannot detect does not exist, which is the most expensive lie you will ever believe. And this is a self-made lie. This is what most people are running on, a silver of input, which is a tiny sliver, treated as the whole of reality, defended like a religion. And from that silver, they make every decision they make. I want you to understand here that people, the older they get, the more they believe in their own realities, because people make laws for themselves, and with time, they compound. And they begin to preach this truth, which is a personal truth, and of course it's biased, especially when it's casted onto others without being asked for. Part number 2, the mind only walks in straight lines. The conscious mind moves in sequence. One thing leads to the next, which leads to the next in an order you can predict. And that is what logic is. Let me put this here. It loves logic because logic feels safe, and logic feels safe because it produces outcomes. The mind can already imagine. This is the trick. This is the whole appeal. You give logic a problem and it gives you back a solution that lives inside the borders of what you already know, which feels reassuring and reinforces what you want to see, until you notice that the life you actually want is on the other side of those borders. The grass is greener on the other side of the fence, but in reality the grass is greener where you water it. If you want to get rid of the illusion, look at what you want and what you do to get it. This is the solution, which is basically facing the mirror, looking at what you actually do. And do you really want it? How badly do you want it? This is the follow-up question after, do you really want it? That thing you want. This is the part most people never get. Think about your own life for a second. The moments that actually mattered. The conversation that changed your trajectory. The person who walked in at exactly the right time. The idea that hit you in the shower. The chance encounter that turned into something. Did any of these come out of a logical 6-step plan? No, we're talking about synchronicities here, which is what the universe is running by. Okay, so did any of these come out of a logical 6-step plan? Or did they show up sideways in a way you could not have predicted and could not now reverse engineer if you tried? Logic is a useful tool, but it's not the truth. If you only use logic, you can only build what's already been built, because you cannot reason your way into something that has never existed before. The mind, in straight lines, will keep walking you down the road that is already paved, because the unpaved roads do not register with it. And what does not register gets ignored. And what gets ignored does not happen. So literally you can clearly see in this paragraph how limited the conscious mind is, which is basically your ego mind. This is why people who plan everything end up living the life they already saw in their head 5 years ago. They got exactly what they could imagine, nothing more. They confused the limits of their imagination for the limits of what was possible. And then they spend the rest of their lives quietly disappointed that the bigger thing never showed up, when in truth the bigger thing was right there the whole time, waiting on a road they refused to take because the road did not have a map. In life, so many people refuse to do something just because they don't know how to do it, And Grant Cardone has a saying, better be heard and seen than to be a nobody. That is, if you're called up to do a task and you don't know how to do that task, you'd better learn how to do that and do your best, and obviously detach. Do it dispassionately, right? But do your best. But never be attached. Never put your emotions into the game. Never put everything on a stake. And try to come up with your best possible actions for that. Better be heard and seen than to be a nobody. So you don't need a map in order to act in life. The map will be there. You create the map. The map creates itself for you in life if you have the direction for that, for the map, but which is basically the direction for your life, right? The life will wrap itself around you if you know where you're going. Trust me. The biggest moves of your life are not going to come from logic. Well, this is another important bit. Let me underline this. They're going to come from something the mind cannot foresee. And if you only act on the present modes, you will spend the rest of your life on the road that was already there. Part 3, the mind is almost never here. Watch your thinking randomly throughout for 1 minute. It will replay yesterday, rehearse tomorrow, run a scenario about a meeting that's not going to happen with a person you may never meet again, draft a comeback to an argument that ended 6 years ago, literally does this, plan the next thing while still in the middle of this thing, and most of the noise has nothing at all to do with the room you're physically standing in. This is why people say back in the day was better, the music was better, the ice cream was, different, and everything was better back then. But it's actually because they can't live in the present moment to enjoy the life from a childlike perspective. This is the real thing. This is what the conscious mind does. It simulates. So it runs models of the past so it can prepare for the future, and it runs models of the future so it can avoid the past. And in between those two modes, there is almost no room left for the present, which is the only place where anything actually happens. Again, what I said with the nostalgia thingy. While the mind is busy in yesterday and tomorrow, life is happening in the room you're in. Every signal from your gut, every real opportunity walking past you, every chance to do something that matters, all of it lives in the present moment. And none of it can reach you when you're not here. So cultivate presence as often as possible. Set yourself a reminder so it can become present, so it can actually live through the spirit, right? Be present in your attention. Have attention loop back on itself so you can actually experience enlightenment in this very moment. I know this is crazy. Some of you might not believe it. That's fine, but just give it a shot, right? Become ultra present. That's the key to changing your future. If you don't like something about you, change it by becoming first present and choose a new direction from this, because this is what you really are. This is actually who you really are. Because if you take a decision while you're under certain influences or in a different state, then that decision is biased and the work will cost you. I've done it and I don't want to do it again with loads of projects. Either way, this is just a lesson that comes with experience, with trial and error. But the more we age, the more we learn, and so on. Part number 4. You're not your thoughts. Most people have never made this distinction in their entire lives. They so fused with their thinking that they believe they are the thinking, and they take every passing thought as a fact about who they are. And this is the whole reason they suffer the way they do. A dark thought passes through and they conclude they are the dark person. On the other side, an anxious thought passes through and they conclude they are an anxious person. The thinking never stops and the identity built On top of that, thinking never stops either. And the whole thing is exhausting because it never had to be there in the first place. And so here is what to do. When the thought happens, you observe the thought. And the part observing is the part that's actually you. While the part thinking is just the process running underneath, like the breath or the heartbeat. You don't identify with your heartbeat, so you should not identify with most of your thoughts either. This is what you do. You detach, you separate yourself from your cognitive mode or your cognitive process. Now drop your attention from your head into your chest, like here, like literally. Move the place where you're paying attention from behind your eyes to the middle of your sternum and stay there for a few breaths. Like try to feel your gut feeling, basically. This is what I'm teaching you here how to do. There is something there that knows, okay? It does not speak in sentences, which is why the mind dismisses it, but it's been picking up everything the senses miss every day of your life, storing the information somewhere underneath language, in a place the mind does not have the keys to. The mind cannot read it, it can only feel it. This is why the translation is difficult from feeling to the mind, because there are feelings you can't put into words, right? Love can be expressed as poetry and flowers and gifts and whatever reflection as symbolism we have of that thing, but we can't really express it into words. Doesn't make sense. Well, you can to a certain degree, but to what degree? That's the question. It's a feeling. It's something you can't see, you can only experience. So tune to it. Sit with it with a gut feeling, I'm saying, and stop translating it into words the second it shows up. Because most of what it has to tell you cannot survive the translation. And the moment you try to put it into a sentence, you've already lost most of the signal. The day you stop confusing yourself with your thinking is the day you start running your own life. And that day starts with being present. This is again what I'm saying about a living in the present moment. Something you forgot to do. I'm telling you, even for me, it's hard. The older you get, the harder it is to be present. Because this is also the concept of why time flies, right? We're getting older and the mind never stays in the present, goes in the future, in the past, and so on. Part number 5, your body knows what your mind forgot. Everything you ever lived is in your body. Every experience, every belief, every emotion you did not finish processing, every trauma, every fear you swallowed or suppressed because you were 3 years old and had nowhere to put it. None of it is stored in your head, it's stored in your body parts, right? And what you need to know here is that the subconscious mind is not sitting in your brain, it's sitting in your body. It's literally your body. That's your subconscious mind. And it's been keeping a meticulous record the conscious mind does not have access to, which is why you cannot think your way to most of the answers you actually need. So when you dig for something, don't ask with questions, but rather ask for the resolution of the tension you hold inside you, which is basically your answer to your question. I'm not sure if I was precise because it's so hard and I can't put it into words. The mind can analyze forever and still miss the thing your shoulder has been holding since you were 12. Because yes, the body stores trauma or unsolved conflicts. When you ignore your body, you ignore most of what you actually know about yourself, and you're trying to navigate your life with the smallest part of your intelligence, while the larger part is sitting right there waiting to be consulted. It is the equivalent of solving a problem with a calculator while ignoring the supercomputer in the next room, which is your subconscious mind. So here is what we do. You slow down and breathe. Put your hand on the part of your body that's talking to you the loudest and ask it what's holding. It will answer with a sensation, a warmth, an image, a memory, a single word that arrives uninvited. The mind will try to translate too quickly because the mind cannot tolerate things it cannot name. And most of the message will be lost in the translation if you don't stay with a sensation longer than feels useful. You need to process it, but when you do, be detached. This is the part of you that's been trying to get your attention for years, through symptoms, through tiredness, through pains the doctors can't find a cause for, through that low background hum of something being off. Because you clearly know when you're not on the right track with your health, with yourself, with your direction in life. You know it, right? Just keep asking the wrong parts of you for answers. So literally just ask yourself as a whole, what's wrong with me? How can I be better? What's hurting me and why, right? What traumas have I got unresolved? And they will surface. They will, because the subconscious, just as Carl Jung said, will keep bringing those experiences into your life until you integrate them, until you master them. This is what Carl Jung said. And if that guy was so sure about this, despite of what the modern interpretation is, then there must be some truth in there, right? Some. But you still need to keep asking, right? Not the wrong part of you, but just what feels off inside of you. And when we're talking about your body, there's a good book, there's actually 2 of them, The Body Code and the Emotion Code, where it says precisely that the body knows exactly what's wrong with it and how to fix it. Well, how to fix it is more in the book, but the body knows exactly what's wrong with it. So please keep that in mind and give those books a try. If you have symptoms that the doctors can't find a cause for, it's actually stored trauma. So you need to stop running away from yourself. I gave you the 2 books to fix your health and start from there. And lastly, don't run away from yourself after you have those books as a base on healing yourself and all that. And yeah, let's jump on the next one. Part number 6, you cannot remember, so stop trying. You will not undo most of your conditioning by tracing it back to its source. I have to say this clearly because the entire self-help industry is built on the opposite premise. The idea that if you can just figure out where the wound came from, you can finally heal it. Sometimes that works. Most of the time, it just gives the mind a new project. And the mind loves projects, especially the kind that let it feel like it's doing the work with preset rules, without actually changing anything because it likes to stay the same, converging on its own that was what ensured survival in the past, and so we will do it in the future. So be careful with this. It's a very crucial bit you need to understand. The mind is a tricky place. So the mind wants to figure out where it all came from. It's the same mind that got you stuck in the first place. You cannot solve the problem with the tool that built the problem. You cannot think your way out of a thinking problem. Just like Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the same level of thinking that created it, which means you need to reinvent yourself, become a new person, and you do that by asking different questions, of course. So stop. Don't try to remember everything. Don't try to excavate every route. Don't spend 10 years mapping every line of code in your psyche before you let yourself leave. Because while you're mapping, the years are going by and the map will never be finished. So all you have to do is to decide. This is how you change your beliefs. Simply by deciding. For example, when you've had enough of something and you say, I've had enough and I'm going to become this and only this. So all you have to do is to decide. Decision is at the base of change. Decision is how you change your beliefs. For example, when you say, I've had enough of this thing, I'm not going to have anything else but this other bit, like the better life and all that. That's when you truly decide. But you can also not wait for the bad event to happen in order for you to take a decision. You can start taking that decision now and change yourself based on that. So decide from this moment, you're going to see the world differently in different instances, right? In different areas of your life. This is very crucial. That sounds too simple to be true, which is exactly why almost nobody does it. The mind cannot believe that anything important could be that simple. So the mind has invested decades into the belief that change is hard, that healing is slow, that you have to earn your way out of your conditioning through suffering. To accept that you can just decide is to admit the mind has been wasting your time. And the mind will fight that to death. Is basically your ego. You can see that in the lives of some people around you. It will say you cannot just decide. It will demand proof, history, reasons. It will produce 1,000 objections, each one more sophisticated than the last, and each one designed to keep you in exactly the same place you've been. Let it talk. That's all you have to do. Just let it. Listen to it the way you would listen to a child throwing a tantrum about something it does not understand. Then make the decision anyway. This is the art of changing oneself, doing the right thing and doing the right work despite how hard it is. The mind does not get a vote on this one. Most of what's running you was installed by a decision someone else made a long time ago. And you can make a new one today that overwrites it. It's as simple as that. Not all at once, right? The decision has to come first and the action comes after. And the action is what teaches the nervous system that the decision is real. Part 7. Do the most interesting thing in front of you. Here we come at a part where you can follow through on your decision to actually change, right? So stop waiting for the right thing. You will not reveal itself to people who are sitting still. To do the right thing, you need to move and be in action, constantly doing something. And the right thing will come. This is by law, right? It will come. Reality will unfold itself to you when you expect it to. You cannot see the whole road from where you're standing. Nobody can. You can see what's lit right now, immediately in front of you. Only a few hundred meters at a time. Just like you have a car, and with the beam, you can see just a few hundred meters at a time. That's what you have to do in life as well. People stay stuck for one reason. They want to know the whole plan before they take one step. They want a guarantee that the thing they about to start is going to work out. And because no such guarantee exists, they never start. Wow, this is a big one. Just like as I said with the map and the territory. They sit in research mode for years, learning, reading, listening to podcasts, watching other people do their thing, telling themselves they are preparing. They're not preparing, they're avoiding. Preparation has a deadline. Avoidance does not. What looks like opportunity from the outside is almost always invisible from where you are right now. And it only becomes visible once you've started moving towards something you find interesting. The opportunities you cannot see today exist on a road you have not started walking on yet. This is why you can't see them. They're real, they're there, but you cannot perceive them from your current position because you're not the identity yet. You think you don't have options. You do have options. You have not moved enough for them to show themselves. And the universe or your subconscious or whatever you want to call the parts of life that arranges things in your favor does not hand out new options to people who have not done anything with the options they already have, because evolution takes place in layers. Do the thing you find interesting today, follow it for one day and see what opens up. Then do it again the next day. Look, I'm not talking about playing video games or watching movies or anything of that. I'm talking about real work that can change other people, that can change other people's lives, right? And yourself ultimately, right? Look, you either do things for yourself or for others. Find a thing that you can do for others that will satisfy your needs, like creating content, writing material for others, and so on, right? The road builds itself in front of you, but only when you're walking. And by the way, I want to say something very important here. Action creates ability. This is a big one. You can only have power to do the thing only when you put yourself in a position to actually do the thing. This is the only way it goes in this universe, right? So start quieting your own indecision and your own lack of ability and actually put yourself and do the research and finish the thing you started, the project, and get paid or improve other people's lives or do something that you really like, you know? But I'm not talking about playing games and all that, although it could be, but I'm not talking about wasting your time, right? Let's put it this way, more seriously. Part 8, ask and then let go. When you don't know what to do, Ask yourself out loud. How do I finish this book? How do I finish this podcast? How do I finish this video? How do I finish this track? And keep asking questions until something comes up, and it will. Because the moment you ask yourself a question, you plant a seed, and the universe is made to expand on that curiosity. It's made to seek resolution for any tension you create, right? Either consciously or unconsciously. It will solve you all the tensions. So create positive tensions, not negative. That is, I'm worrying about something bad happening, right? And you keep planting the seed. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to ask in a positive way. You need to be curious about something that you care about, something that's going to help the lives of other people, just like Jose Silva did when he created the Silva Ultramind course, which I highly suggest you go and have a look at. But you need to ask questions when you don't know the answer to something you work on. Don't ask your mind. Don't let your mind come up with that, as you're going to see, right? So when you don't know what to do, ask yourself out loud. Ask your subconscious, your higher self, the universe, the name doesn't matter. The act of asking you what will start a new course. Pay attention in the following days to the information the universe will bring in your life. It will put you on the right track again. This is the part nobody does, and it's the entire reason most people never get answers, because they never ask in the first place. Or they ask and then they grip the question with both hands and refuse to let it go. They demand the answer come back in the next 10 minutes in the form they already expected. You state the question clearly, you feel it settle in your body, and then you stop thinking about it. You go do something else and let the question sit in the back of your awareness like a seed in a soil. And you give it time to do whatever it needs to do without your supervision. The answer comes as a feeling. This is the very important bit. The answer comes as a feeling. A sense that one direction is right and another is off. Right? So there's more certainty about something you were uncertain about. It is a knowing. It's a deep, intrinsical knowing. Right? And it will come as a name you had no thought of in years. A door you had not noticed before suddenly being there when you turn the corner. It comes quietly on its own schedule at a moment you were not braced for it. If you're not paying attention, you will miss it. If you're paying too much attention or give it too much importance, you will scare it off. It will always go away. So try to be detached when you seek for answers, especially if it's something important to work on. It's just how the universe works, man. If it does not come today, ask again tomorrow with less grip. The grip is what blocks it. Most people never get answers because they hold the question so tightly that the question cannot breathe. And they treat the silence as proof there is no answer, when in fact the silence is the answer, trying to reach a part of it that has not yet learned to stop talking or thinking. So you want to find a place where you can notice your attention with the self or within the self. For some, this is hard to do, but it's not impossible. It will be a feeling of ease or easiness and nothingness where everything is new, right? Try it. You need to become present, bro. This is what I'm saying here. Become completely present and have attention loop onto itself, and you will have the moment of becoming a spirit. This is enlightenment, like being super present. So be attention casted onto itself. So look at yourself through your attention. Maybe you will get it. I hope you'll get it. I don't know. This is the best way I can put it, because it's not something easily you can talk about that easy, you know. Part 9. Everything you need is already in you. The information has been accumulating in you for years through pattern recognition and observation and lived experience and feeling and sensing. All of it sitting inside you, waiting to be read. And the part of you that can read it is your intuition. The trouble is that you've been trained your entire life to trust the wrong instrument for the job. You were taught that thinking is how you figure things out and that logic is the highest form of intelligence. And so, you turn to the mind for every question, even the answers that mind can't answer. When you're in fog, when you generally cannot see the next step, don't turn to logic, because logic is for clear weather. It works when the variables are known, when the inputs are visible, when the situation is one that can be modeled. In the fog, you don't have the variables, right? You don't have clean inputs. You have a gut, right? The gut is the only instrument designed for that kind of terrain. So train it, right? Train that. Train to feel rather than think. This is the most part people get exactly backwards. They double down on thinking precisely when thinking has nothing to work with. The harder they think, the further they get from the actual answer, because the actual answer was never going to come through the mind in the first place, just like all the inventions in the universe. And by the way, most of the biggest inventions came during a state of drowsiness or sleepiness or in dreams. When you cannot see, go quiet. Stop deciding for a day or trying to force an outcome. Let the feeling rise up from somewhere underneath all this noise and trust that the feeling, when it comes, is more accurate than anything you could have thought your way to. So the next time you catch your mind deciding for you, do something it cannot do. Sit with a question for 1 extra minute instead of jumping to the first answer that arrives from it, right? And see how it feels. This is very big. See how it feels. Because this is the key to the whole thing. Now, most people will read this and do nothing. You can be one of them if you want. There is plenty of room on that path. Or you can do the thing you know you need to do, right? You can do it today before the day ends while this information is still alive in you. Because by tomorrow, the mind will have turned it into one more thing you see once and meant to come back to. Like literally, you forget about it. There's only the next thing, and you're the one who chooses. So remember, decision is choice. You have the ability to choose, and when you do, be detached. See how reality responds to you, and you go from there again. Thank you. This is The Loop. Thank you for watching, and bye.